Rachel Zegler's wokeness was broken by South Park, and she lost her mind. They criticized Disney's latest attempt to promote its purportedly progressive agenda.
Eric, it's okay. It's okay.
Matt, I had a dream that I was replaced by a diverse woman.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, only this time, it wasn't just me. They were taking all my favorite people and replacing them with diverse women complaining about the patriarchy.
No one is surprised, to be honest, given that South Park is renowned for highlighting the absurdity of woke culture. Disney essentially had a bullseye painted on them with their most recent stunt, the Snow White remake. But it doesn't seem like Rachel Zegler's character Snow White, from Disney, is laughing. In addition to being upset, she is apparently incensed over the parody and the unfavorable comments that have been made about her role. As a result, the South Park episode Into the Pandaverse aired. The headline alone tells you all you need to know. Typical of South Park, they didn't hold back. The gender and racial flip changed beloved characters like Cartman, Stan, Butters, and Kenny into adult women of color. It was obviously a criticism of what Disney has done recently. Tradition is abandoned, characters are swapped, and classic stories are rewritten to appeal to a modern audience. However, that was just the start of the mockery. Every comment made by people on Disney's most recent remakes was ridiculed. Let's talk about Snow White. The hiring of Rachel Zegler, a Latina, generated a lot of controversy because the original Snow White was named for having a skin as white as snow. But what about Rachel now? It has become a major issue. Advocates fear that the connection isn't rational anymore. They're not wrong, to be honest. But it's not only the casting that has people rolling their eyes. Disney made the choice to entirely rewrite the story, eliminating significant elements that helped make it a beloved classic. No more romance. Prince, nearly forgotten. Goodbye to the Seven Dwarfs. It appears like Disney is making a conscious effort to obscure the storyline.
A little person, one person with dwarfism, and now they're just completely cut. There will be no dwarf actors at all working on this film, and in a live action, which means we're supposed to translate from animation to real life people.
Furthermore, Rachel hasn't taken any action to gain supporters. She received backlash for being patronizing and obviously conceited about her role in an interview. She has stated that she doesn't like the original plot, seeing it as flawed and outdated. In one interview, she even joked that the food served on site was apple-flavored, as if it were a particular insult. Rachel, is that truly what we're focusing on? Fans are understandably irritated. They feel she is disrespecting a classic fairy tale by promoting this new version that doesn't seem like Snow White at all. Things become considerably messier at this point. Rachel's comment about the prince surprised a lot of people. She stated, "It's not about the love story at all," suggesting that romance is no longer a part of the plot. She also joked that all of his scenes may be cut out. Whether she was being serious or not, the tone didn't sit well with anyone. Fans are angry not just about the changes, but also at the manner those changes are framed, as if the original story was faulty or poor. And we haven't even talked about the Seven Dwarfs. Instead of making little changes, Disney completely changed the concept. The original narrative was built around Snow White's relationships with these people, but now it's all gone. This shows again how willing Disney is to change their masterpieces and how unpopular they are with the general population. Instead of destroying the memory of a generational picture, shouldn't the goal of its remake be to honor it?
We all loved growing up that are sadly being forgotten in this new adaptation. I also don't know who is more excited, this guy or me, because the way he was bouncing in that video was absolutely insane. But somebody said, who's playing Snow White, Ben or Brett? I can't even tell.
Disney has faced criticism for similar changes in the past. For instance, there was a lot of backlash over Hailey Bailey's choice to play Ariel in The Little Mermaid. Still, a lot of the film's distinctive charm was retained. Many have criticized the casting of Little Mermaid, despite the fact that the narrative stayed true to its original roots. This is problematically not the case with Snow White. Because of the many notable changes, they feel Disney is not creating anything authentic, but rather serving a certain goal. Additionally, when you include in Rachel's tone-deaf interviews, supporters find the situation much more unbearable. South Park, of course, exploited all of this. Their ability to capture the absurdity of society has always been strong, and this Pandaverse episode is no exception. By changing the gender and race of their own well-known characters, they took the comedy to a new level and showed how ridiculous certain decisions can be when taken too far. In addition, South Park doesn't care who they infuriate. This is not the first time this has happened to a corporation, and it won't be the last. Although South Park has always been about Disney, the latest Pandaverse episode appears to have been scripted with a particular critique of the studio's current direction in mind. Although it makes fun of a number of businesses for appealing to woke customers, it is clear that Disney, and particularly the Snow White remake, was the primary focus. Disney's recent redoubled efforts on these actors and storyline alterations were not going to be excused by South Park after all. So, what is the main lesson to be learned from that episode? Changing a character's gender or ethnicity in an existing story isn't genuine diversity, especially if it doesn't promote wokeness. What comes to mind when you hear this? You mean Snow White? Even though South Park was never about analyzing cultural or ethnic roots, Disney kind of pushed them to denounce what they were doing to Snow White in the spirit of diversity, equality, and inclusion. That's the real issue for a lot of supporters. It's not about inclusiveness, but about authenticity, or, in this case, the lack of it. Additionally, Rachel Zegler's engagement hasn't exactly been advantageous. Fans are devastated by her contempt for the original storyline. Her interviews seem less like fervor for a cherished figure and more like disdain for what Snow White was. Her advocacy for eliminating the love story, disregarding the prince, and turning Snow White into a warrior archetype is a recipe for alienating almost everyone who grew up loving the original.
How they're going to sum that up and fix it, I have no idea. Please, please, please don't make it something where she's like asking him or like it's her. She's the one who actually makes the kiss happen in the end. I don't know.
This explains why South Park's satire is so deep. By highlighting such shifts in their Pandaverse episode, they show the viewer the emptiness that arises when studios prioritize weak modifications above genuine story. It seems that Rachel was cast as Snow White more as a marketing gimmick to get diversity points than as a creative choice. Furthermore, rather from being a success, it turned into a PR nightmare, with Rachel herself being disappointed from feeling the conventional tale lovers being disappointed. They are not, however, unfamiliar with South Park's spoof of Disney. In their 2022 program, The Streaming Wars, they also ridiculed the entertainment giant. Not to mention their infamous portrayal of Mickey Mouse in earlier episodes, or their attacks on Star Wars after Disney acquired it. Disney is more than just a frequent target. They are almost a recurring character in the satirical universe of South Park. Disney is clearly unhappy with the trolling in South Park. The business is apparently trying to bargain with South Park's creators to prevent further episodes like this from airing. It's easy to see why. Stunt to fix its disabilities and other legibility problems, Facebook, since South Park has created their empire on carefully crafted public perception, their economic strategy is immediately influenced by their unvarnished critique. If the ridicule of Mickey Mouse wasn't bad enough, this Pandaverse episode could be their most ruthless attack to date.
And kindness and friendship and inner beauty versus vanity and romance, for Pete's sake, because apparently that's missing in 2023. Weird.
No!
Also, speaking of the source material, many people were asking online,
Promoting woke propaganda doesn't matter to fans. Honoring their favorite stories is the goal. One of the main reasons Snow White's journey became so well known was her love story. Disney is not modernizing the story by eradicating it entirely. Being apart from it is what first made it resonate. Fans want adaptations that honor the spirit of the original while being up to date, not a flawless historical recreation. How do you feel about all of this drama? Remember to subscribe for more woke Disney and Snow White news, and feel free to leave your comments in the box given below.